All right, all right, all right. Here we are, everybody. Episode 19 with Xu'rek from URK. This guy right here, man. I'm really excited about this one just because the RP ones, people from the RP community are always, man, there's always so much information. There's so much story, right? I mean, RP is that, it's a story. And so, when me and you linked up and decided to make this happen, it was one of those that I was like, yeah, let's
Yeah,
get
for
it
sure.
going, man. So
For sure. And I wanted to come on just because of that, because the whole other side that I think a lot of people don't get to see. So it's an opportunity for us to kind of talk a little bit about what we do, a little deeper elements of what we do, aside from slaughter zoomies.
that's right. Although you do a lot of that. So tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
And I'm just a dad of two. I played this game like all of us a long ass time ago. I can't let it go. It was always in the back of my mind, like all of us. It was always that. I always call it like your first crush. It's a lot of our first gaming crush. It's our first gaming experience, and we sort of cling on to that. And ironically, I always just compared games to the UO, right? So like even
Guilty.
like 05 or whatever, 05 when I started playing World of Warcraft for the first time, 06, whatever it was, somewhere around then. I have a terrible memory, but whenever World of Warcraft was popping, I'd always be like, yeah, but do you get houses? You don't get houses. Yeah, but do you get this? And, yeah, but, this is, yeah, I always compare it. Every single time I always compare it. And, yeah, that's basically me, man. I love this game. I play it a lot. I mean, as much as I can anyway, time wise. But yeah, my main focus is my two kids, and trying to squeeze in UO orc time in between.
That's it, man. I'm with you. I every game I compare, and so a couple years ago, me and some friends, we were like, what's the ideal MMORPG to you? And two of these guys had never played UO before, right? And
Right.
verbatim, what they described was Ultima Online, and I was like, wow, you would love this game. And they're like, it's 25 years old. And I'm
Right. Then you show a screenshot. They're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. Yeah. But it's the same, man. Like with houses, nobody has been able to do houses like Ultima.
Never.
There's always instanced housing and just, it's not quite the same, man, ever.
Customization was just out of this world, and like people, this, you see them around even Outlands. You take floor tiles and they can make anything out of it. You know what I mean? So in some ways, a lot of other games I felt tried their hardest to force a design upon you. UO was like, here's some fucking red tiles. Here's some sticks. You can,
Remember the old aquariums?
Oh, dude, didn't make everything. You'd be like, how'd you do that?
Yep.
And that's sort of kind of a good segue into what RP is, right? Because we just had this sandbox of shit stuff that we just went to town with it, and we did whatever we wanted. We created our own world within that using the mechanics that were given.
Yeah.
And it made me realize that I didn't need a game giving me an orc race. I didn't need a game giving me orc lore like in Warcraft. We just made our own. You just make your own up. You don't need, and then it's whatever you want it to be. Which is even better. So yeah, that's kind of my history with gaming. I dabbled a bit with WoW back in the day, but I gave it up pretty quickly. Then I just game wise, pretty typical game, Call of Duty, stuff like that. But I was always occasional. I've never really been a super serious gamer.
Yeah.
Big into Final Fantasy back in the day. When I was a kid, that was like my thing.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, the JRPGs like 1, 2, 3, Super Nintendo, stuff like that.
Yeah. That was my intro to fantasy world. And I 7, 6, 6, 7, 8 I was middle school, elementary, whatever when that was around. And tactics was always my favorite. So yeah, that was my intro to fantasy. And Final Fantasy Tactics is the best Final Fantasy, hands down. And I'll fight anyone who says otherwise.
Don't hit me, but that is the only one that I have not played. Right? I know it's great. I've never heard anybody say it's not great. It's just I guess there's a few others I haven't played, but it's like the number one that I know I should play. You know,
You should play it. I mean, it's good, man. It was kind of its own thing for a while. I know like Kingdom Hearts. There's other games. Again, I'm not a super big gamer, but
yeah.
Final Fantasy Tactics was it. And actually, I'll tell you a really quick funny story about that. When you start the game, you get like 6 by 2 by 6 tiles, and you can plop your troops wherever you want, like on the battlefield. It really makes kind of minimal influence, but you can feel them or whatever. I was in probably 5th grade when I first played the game, and me and my twin brother played it. And we didn't know if you hit R1 and L1 that you can get more troops.
Okay.
So you start off with the 2 main characters, and then you get like 4 or 5 support troops, right? Well, we freaking spawned, and we didn't know we got the support troops, so we had to play it. We basically had to parry 4 attacks in a row, and so we played over and over the first mission over and over for a month.
Yeah.
Until the right sequence occurred where we beat it, and then we would progress, and then we realized it was so. Yeah, Tactics was ingrained like, from that point on.
Like ultra hardcore mode before it was ever, I think.
Yeah. I was restricting myself. I didn't know it. Yeah, I was restricting myself before Blood Rock came about.
That's good. Yeah, man. So where did the name Xu'rek come from?
Okay, so there's really no backstory there. But here's the thing. Okay, I played with the Orcs. My name is new on Outlands, and I played as an Orc years ago, but I was never really super big. I mean, I came and went, that type of stuff, and I was always fascinated with it.
Yeah.
But when it came to Outlands in 2020, and I had to come up with a new Orc name because we don't really honor. So Outlands, Blood Rock, if you were an old timer, you don't get the transition that the 2001 Orc doesn't get to exist now in Outlands. You start as a Snotling and work your way up. So it doesn't matter what you were then.
It should be easy for you anyway, right?
Easy peasy. Yeah. So the trick with Orc names is there's really 2 schools here. Okay, now this is getting like deep into Orc lore, if you will, or what we do. There's the apostrophe cap, where if your Orc has some folks, the Orc has to have an apostrophe in it, right? Xu'rek, apostrophe rek, right? There's other Orcs who swear with just the single words, no apostrophe. So it's always a running joke with us. But whatever your name is, it's always the first syllable that people call you. So no one calls me Xu'rek and Bloodrock. They just call me Zu. Grizzlock, for example, is just Grizz. Needroll is just Knee. We call him Knee. So I just wanted a name that was unique enough, and XU was easy, so I just picked Xu'rek. And then Rek, like Rek stuff, Yeah. So I was just like, Xu'rek, good enough.
So you're telling me that I'm Pooh. My Pootar character is Pooh.
Yeah, well, you get called Pootar because of your name, but yeah, if you play it a little bit, we call you Pooh, basically. Yeah. Great name choice, by the way.
That's awesome. That is good. So, I mean, wait, you said you had done some stuff with the Orcs before. Well, actually, let's go before that. Like, what got you playing Ultima Online? How long have you been playing it? What's that story there? How did you find out about it?
Yeah, we all got that story, right? So for me, it really started the first time I laid eyes on anything Ultima was in like 98 when it came out, and one of my classmates back in like 6th grade gave me the CD. I didn't even have internet. Okay, I didn't know, like, that's the year I learned what Hotmail was. This is like I was late to the internet game. I didn't actually have internet at home until like 01 or something like that, 02. So like stable enough internet to play. So that's when I really started playing. But I was given a CD, I tried it, and then I realized you need this thing called the internet. So I didn't really get to play it, but my friend would tell me all about it. That friend moved away. And then years later, when I had a home computer, that's when I was like, oh, I remember that game he talked about, and I went and got it. And then me and all my brothers were instantly hooked. Instantly hooked to the game. There's 5 of us. We all formed a guild. I formed a shitty guild called the Green Lantern Guild, just random shit that we made up back then. We all wore green on the swampies, and that was a crew. But yeah, that was my early days, and first experience was an Orc experience. I mean, again, I was playing with my brothers. But I realized, like, one thing this is the 19th episode, yeah?
Yeah.
So I've listened to other people talk about, and one thing that all people talk about in common is that it seems like the most memorable, fun times they had on this game were when they first started off and knew nothing, It's learning the game that was the fun part. And I had experiences like everyone else. Like I remember I wanted to make a thief. I mean, you know, and I never actually played a thief. I didn't know anything about the game. And someone said, you have to go to the city. And I freaking ran there. I didn't know how to get there. I didn't know anything, but that trek to get there was like one of the most memorable things. You know, I ran across people. I ran across my first RPer there actually, who RP'd like assisting me in the forest.
Okay.
And I didn't even fathom. I didn't even think like, whoa, this dude is for like RP was never. I never knew anything about it, you know.
Yeah.
And like, I'm like, I realized, hey, this
He was
is
just in
I'm
character,
learning.
right?
He was in character, you know. And he left, and I'll never forget this. He said, "Until our swords cross again," or something like that. And I was like, this dude's sick, man. This dude's like out of a movie or something, you know.
Yeah.
And then it hit me like, you know, I'm already a human, and I'm already whatever who I am in the real world. I could be whoever I want in this game, you know.
Yeah.
This is like another almost reality for me. And then that's when I started putting the pieces together where, hey, this game will be more fun if I adapted a role of some kind.
Man, you said something there of like learning the game is the best part. And I think you're 100% right, man. Because any game you play, when you first log in, everything is overwhelming, right? As people say. And as you play, you learn things and you're like, oh, I can do this. And it's like, helps me do this. And it feels really, really good. You get all these big epic wins. And it just, I think that really is what makes the early times of us playing Ultima Online so magical, because most of us were young, right? The internet was brand new. And then of course this game was like the first of its kind. So when you are walking through a forest and somebody starts talking to you in a role-playing in character fashion, it's just probably like, oh my God, like this guy is cool. And I can definitely, you know, putting myself in your shoes, go back to when I was playing. If I had been in there, I would have been like, that guy is I wouldn't have ever forgot him either 20 something years later, you know? Like that's cool.
Yeah, and he was the first person I saw that was dressed like in a thematic kind of way, right? So he was like, I remember he was like an all black knight, and I forget his name, but it was some dark knight or something, some theme that he had going, you know. And he wasn't, looking back on it, he wasn't very good. He was casting like fireball shit, right? But you know, to me, I was like, God, he can cast spells. You know, like this guy's next level. You know, so I mean, it was sort of eye opening. But yeah, man,
casting fireball and like plate mail armor probably too with a sash. And, you know what I mean? And
don't even get me started, dude. Don't even get me started.
But back then, it was probably like, you know, there wasn't the whole like information where everybody knew everything either. You know, like
and that's why anybody who knows me in this game, I have one thing I always say, right? Is if I was in charge of Outlands tomorrow, I would delete test server. Just delete it. And I know there's, you know, certain people are like, well, that's dumb. How are you gonna, like, dude? This game is about it's about learning things the hard way sometimes, and like some of the most memorable things are realizing, oh shoot, I've been doing this one way. I could. This guy tells me I could do it this way, or learning different things, you know. And people get on and they're down to like 0.02 more effect. I mean, I mean, are we here to have fun and play a weapon because it looks cool, or are you trying to, you know? And I get it. You know, ultimately, people play the game how they want, and I understand that. But yeah, delete test server. Do whatever you want to do. Do it in the game. You're gonna fail. That's okay.
Yeah.
You know, we're precautious in real life too. We don't have to be that precautious in the game. You know, like it's okay to lose gold. You're gonna get stuff stolen from you. You're gonna die. That's okay. You know, there's all.
Yeah.
And we don't need.
Oh darn! My gold per hour and experience per hour went down by 0.05.
My life's ruined. It's like, dude, who cares, man? You know, like when you ask anybody their favorite parts of the game, it's never that. That's why I never get the emphasis. But you know, I always say too, this game is what you make it. So I don't knock people who play that way. You know, I mean, I choose not to, but you know, it's delete test.
Yeah, there's definitely a certain subculture, whatever, you know, a group of people that are very, like you said, to the 0.05, you know, percentage of this and that. And I'm with you, man. I personally, man, like I I pick up magic resist on my template because I like to get into, skirmishes and stuff like that. I know against me, but that's just because I want to play and have a good time. And, if I see a skirmish, I want to jump in it and fuck around and die or come out on top,
Yeah, a lot of orc PVM builds have like disarm just for that purpose,
Sure.
Like, they're like, well, that's got daggone nerfed and point, you'd be 1 to 2% more effective if you did this.
Yeah.
Who cares, dude? We like disarming Umis when they attack us, like that's way more fun and valuable to us. So that's just kind of our approach to the game, if you will.
And then I can run by and steal the weapon and
it's the dream team.
That's good. So you kind of told me you guys made a guild, you and your buddies, and you were riding around on green swampies and all that. What kind of player were you starting out in
I was a piece of shit, man. I was just a piece of shit.
It's okay.
Yeah, I was a piece of shit 14-year-old. And you know what? It was kind of my segue into the orc life. Well, now it's a little more focused, but I'm a pretty chill and relaxed and rule following kind of guy in real life. So in the game, I gotta be the opposite. Like I'm never gonna be the paladin in the game, dude. It's just not gonna be that way. My favorite thing we do is I was a necromancer and I would troll noobs. I would party them, and where it allowed me to loot their body if they died, and because they never checked it off because they were noobs, right?
Yep.
And then I'd say, hey, you get bonus EXP if you attack my undead, whatever patchwork skeleton, whatever it was that I res, from a. So they'd sit there and attack it, then they die because it was way too strong for them. And I loot their corpse, and then they'd come back and be like, "What happened?" I'm like, "Oh, I screwed you over." Basically, we would do that. We'd house trap people, just all kinds of crap like that. We actually moved to. There was a player-run town called Paxler. I was never involved with Paxler in any capacity. I think they were on Great Lakes or something like that back in the day. And I was such a piece of shit that I literally bought a house like east of there. I don't know how many screens away, X amount of screens away. And me and my brothers like set up an assassination on the mayor. Like we learned their schedule. They had a town hall meeting in Paxler. Winford was his name. I never forget that. It was so shitty because we didn't even RP it really. You know what I mean? It was just like we did a recall rune or whatever inside the hall because we knew he was having an assembly. We all recalled in, fucking paint spiked them, and he dropped, and we ran out. And it was like the most glorious moment of my UO experience. So that's the kind of shit I did early on.
Yeah,
just kind of just dumb stuff like like little kids would just be mischievous.
I get it. Me and Beltane, we infiltrated our way into an RP guild. I'm sorry, man. RP guilds are the funnest to infiltrate into. They really are.
I imagine they're so much. Too,
Well, yeah, because they're welcoming, right? And then but it also, you got to really work to earn the trust. They're very welcoming, but then it's like you really got to work for it. And I mean, it was kind of a similar thing, but we actually joined in, and we're part of a wedding, and then we ended up just fucking throwing EVs down, and of course it was in a small little building, and it's really sad.
Like Game of Thrones or a Red Wedding kind of vibe.
Yeah, I guess so, man. I guess so.
No, you're worse than me, dude. God, that's ultimate control, dude.
Oh man, we did some bad stuff, but I feel bad now. Yeah, I wouldn't do it now.
Yeah, no, that stuff is fun, but I realized, and then I went from that, and then I actually came across just a group of orcs as a human, right? And then I realized they were kind of doing this sort of stuff, but they were adding this layer of role play on top of it that made it 10 times more fun. So it's the mischievous stuff, but they did it in a way where the humans didn't really look at them like pieces of shit, right?
Sure.
They did it in a way where they're like, I kind of get it. It's a bunch of orcs. They killed me. I didn't. Yeah. I ran when they asked for a tribute. Kind of deserve it a little bit or whatever, or they're there. So then I realized, hey, this game would be more fun if I did this kind of stuff. But as these guys, and I always was inclined to that. I've always rooted for the bad guys in movies and stuff. So I always saw myself kind of appreciating the villain because, not to get too philosophical, but they always sort of the darker the villain, the brighter the hero, right? Yeah. So the bigger the villain, the more evil they are. It's almost like an equal goodness has to occur for it to equate. Yeah. And so I always saw them as like providing a service. you know, I always saw the bad guys in movies as providing a service. Like, what would Batman do if no villains existed? He'd be nothing, right?
Just be Bruce Wayne, man. Yeah.
He'd just be hanging out in his cave. So then I was like, I always saw that and appreciated it. So when these orcs came by, I was like, hey, these guys are playing the bad guy for other players. And then I did my research on, I went to their website back in the day, you know, and I was like, oh shit, these guys are for real, you know? And so I made my work and made my way, man. This is pre-voice chat too. So, you know, this is like, you had to do all this typing in Orcish as a first time. So it was a lot harder back then.
How many times did you, how many times did you, like, were you ever hidden in somebody's house or somewhere, right? Doesn't matter. Maybe in a dungeon and you're in a party with somebody and you're trying to like type to them, or maybe you're communicating with this person and you accidentally like have a period before your slash, and so you weren't really typing in party, and all of a sudden you come unhidden and you just blurt everything out that's supposed to be a secret. Oh man, it happened to me.
Yeah, no, this is all. Yeah, it made me a fast typer though, because if you think about it, you know, I mean, it was one of my. I tied my ass off, you know.
Or with one hand while you're running, right? You know.
Yeah, we did that on my like. I had this like piece of crap compact laptop that I played on, and it was like, you know, this big. So I was like freaking typing and running with my thumbs on the mouse pad and stuff. Yeah, man, those are. But you know, it was, and actually, to this day, man, I refuse to adapt because I want to keep the game. Sure. My approach to UO is like, it's only fun in a social context, and it's only fun for me when I'm doing like events and stuff like that. Some of the other stuff can be fun sometimes. Like I'll occasionally farm on my own and stuff, but you know, it's always more fun in groups. And so my emphasis and the time I do dedicate to the game, I dedicate to sort of events and things like that, because you know, like I'll tell you right, I don't even run macros, dude. Like I run 0 macros when I game. Okay. So when I run into a dungeon and I need
don't play a mage, don't ever become a
I know that's one of the reasons why I don't want. I'm just, they're like, you should make a mage because my rank is high enough to where I can make a mage in the clan now, which is kind of a rare thing, I guess. But no, I just refuse to do it. Like I still double click to attack, dude. Like I did in 2001. Like
I do too.
I still double click, and then you know, and people make fun of me, and they're like, "Well, if you do this and that, you know." But the way I see it, it's like. And it's like you're hardly playing the game. They're like, all you got to do is move your mouse wheel up one and it attacks, you know, and it's like, well, then you're not doing anything, you know, and then the scripts are healing yourself and you're just standing there, you know, and it's like, we're like 2 steps away from just running a script that plays the game for you. You don't even got to be on, you know, and it's.
I'll know never to introduce you to my friend Jay Sounds.
No, I actually messaged him the other day because I forgot why, but yeah, no, and I get the game, I get it, you know, and I get why people do it. It's just not my style. I choose not to do it. I like to play the game the hard way. It's more fun for me that way, you know.
Yeah, I get it.
And it gives me an excuse when I lose 1v1s, you know. I'll be like, hey, dude, I don't even use macros, you know. So it's my go-to excuse.
Yeah, I do the same. So I don't even have a gate macro, and I mean, like. My whole MO is getting people to chase me. And so when I hit that moon gate, man, I've got like a split second where I have to go over there, click the town, go through moon gate. And so if they kill me on the moon gate, I'm like, if I had that script that everybody else has, you know.
Yeah, they run like all these. It's like, man, dude, it's like they're, you know, and I get why they do it. That's the thing is like I get why they do it, because the value is in. There's something about dying in UO that just gets people going. It's just, you know, it's just, you know, there's something as orcs, we could care less. I mean, we want to die. You know what I mean? So like we kind of take the opposite approach. But humans, it's like you kill them, you take their GM iron armor and fucking 700 gold from the first mob they killed, and they just go ballistic. It's like, you know, you lost nothing, bro. You have, you know, this is nothing to you. But anyway, it's something about dying, man.
Or getting stolen from. I've had people jump into, you know, my chat on stream and just start cussing me out because I stole their water core. I'm like, bro, dude, I'll give you your 7K, man. You want
it's 10K, right?
It's something like that, man.
But these are the same people that would go for society points, go into a dungeon, not loot any of the gold, right? Just leave fucking $250,000 gold behind, but they'll complain about losing a water core.
Yeah.
And I get it. It's a gold per hour and min max and whatever. I get it.
I think it's a pride thing. I think it's a pride thing. Which I back earlier we were talking about like, that UO does everything great with the housing, the PvP and stuff, and there's only a handful of other games where I've ever been able to attack somebody at free will, right? I think EverQuest I played on a PvP server. Dark Age of Camelot, there was a PvP server, and outside of that, I really can't think of much. Shadowbane, anyways. Right. But the thing is, though, is that like because I've played so many games like that, like dying is just part of it to me, man. And I really want to put myself in those stupid situations that I'm probably not going to get out of, because if I do get out of it, oh shit, that was an adrenaline rush. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God. I don't get
sound like our orc elder Nero. He's infamous for that. He's like, let's just go. We all die, whatever. It's an adventure, This who cares, and I agree, Because the thing is like what you're gonna die, and some of these players have houses of chests and chests of they got 100 vanquishing weapons, they got 100, they got this is not there's no real risk here, but it's just they play so, and then they take it so serious. So yeah, part of it is that, man. But it's funny enough, when you join Bloodrock as a snotling, we kill them nonstop.
Yeah,
and part of it is for that reason. We need to like almost beat it out of them.
Yeah,
don't take this shit so seriously. You're gonna die. That's fine. Go get more stuff. Go get your pickaxe or whatever you're gonna fight with, and your bugger helmet. And we'll kill you again and again. And then just keep coming back, and the humans will kill you.
Yeah.
And you'll get attacked on sight or whatever. Just die, and that's part of it, So we try to kind of turn it. We kind of try to turn that on its head a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the dying can be the funnest part. I mean, for sure. Just because you did something and you tried and it didn't work out, but it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, or you got murdered, but you know what? At the end of the day, it's oh darn, you lost your loadout.
Yeah.
You probably got 20 more.
You have 600 more of each item back in your show.
Yep.
And so who cares? Who cares?
Exactly.
Ultimately, and that's the approach we take too. So that's like step one.
So as far as free shards, well, first when you were on retail, did you find the Urks there and then come to free shards? I mean, kind of walk me through some of that. What free shards you have played on, and something.
Yeah. So I played retail for a few years. I found the Orcs there. I played with them for a bit, but like I said, this is pre-voice chat, and I never really took it. I never took the game too seriously, and when I made an Orc, I took that a little more seriously, but. I reached, second or third level rank, like what the equivalent of like maybe front rank back then. I didn't reach like a leadership role or anything like that. And so I played that for a bit. And what's funny is that I started realizing I was logging on to my Orc more and more and more than I was like my human characters.
Yeah. Because
we'd log in as an Orc back in those days. You would log in and it's always something should popping off. It's always like, it was no time you barely had time to get your arrows or whatever you had to get. And it was like, we were getting raided, and it's like, dude, go, crimp, just screaming. And it's just like, you barely had any time. And if the humans weren't attacking us, you're running boot camps. This is when we were kids, you had all the time in the world. We were staying up all night doing this shit, every night type stuff. So like we'd log on and there'd be boot camps. We go on missions, we go raid shit if humans are attacking our fort.
So what are boot camps? Are they just teaching you how to be an Urk or what?
Yeah, a little bit of that and a little bit of just like the leadership kind of letting off their aggression on the young ones. Yeah. But the main thing was because we have always had restrictions. So that's like the cornerstone of our guild that I think that distinguishes us, apart from the fact that we're orcs. Because there's other orc guilds, but what we do is we restrict our players pretty heavily.
Yeah.
And we believe in that strongly because we think it sort of forces you to play a certain style that we think kind of is more cohesive to what we adhere to as like our philosophy.
Yeah.
So back in those days, and even now, like making a mage, you can't start off as a mage. There's absolutely, I mean, it'll take you 2 years before you could make a mage. And even then, you start off as what we call a weirdling, which is just like the lowest scum of the, and this is like worse than snotling, because you're like a snotling, but you use magery, and we all hate magery. So like, you're just, you get it bad for a while. That's like, congratulations, you can be a mage. Everyone hates you. So
you're shooting magic arrows and summoning creatures, right?
Correct. And so that's kind of like, that's always been the pinnacle. So I played that in retail, and I realized, hey, I had this guy, and I did play a mage back then. I had 1,000 fucking icons at the bottom, but I played a mage back then. And then I realized I was having more fun just shooting arrows as an orc. I didn't need all this other stuff. That was more fun to me than anything else we had. I did have a house and stuff, so I did okay in terms of like the game.
Do you think that it had to do with kind of like you were talking about, like the community that you had found, like there was a sense of belonging, and then of course just like the rules made it more interesting, right? That?
Yeah, you found something, because it was other people who sort of had the same mindset as me, where they kind of liked the idea of playing a villain, and they appreciated what a villain character does for the opposition, the good side, if you will.
Yeah.
And so we always saw ourselves as playing like just a little bit harder NPCs. We were just NPCs for the shard, basically. That's always been our philosophy. And our kind of goal was to be just harder mobs to interact with, mobs that talk back to you and kind of fight a little bit, here and then. And I appreciated that, and the camaraderie was there. The restrictions were there and I appreciated that because I had something to work towards.
Yeah.
Right. Where it's like my other guy was full plate mail or whatever, just everything I wanted on him and whatever. And here it's like, I couldn't pay for this shit if I wanted to. I had to earn it through fighting. And there was an appeal to that to me. And leveling up and just, going up the ranks was intriguing to me. And the interaction that we had with the other side. So like we would have fort fights that were fucking 20 versus 20, just naturally occurring all the time back in those days. Like you log on and it'd be 18 other orcs in a fort just screaming, and just like trying to pin humans down.
Sure.
And
fights were better though, because like you said, there wasn't voice, right? So it wasn't this like off screen, okay, come in, drop, you know what I mean? It was just pure chaos. Like maybe you got 3 people fighting this one over here, and then you've got like, you know what I mean? Just weird craziness.
And that's what the boot camps were for. I mean, I kind of didn't answer 100%, but yeah, basically the boot camps were trained. We would have the boot camps in the fort, and we used the fort defensively. So like the fort would have a 1-tile entrance. So we would have a 1-tile entrance, and then a little room, and then a second 1-tile entrance. And we would practice the hidden orc behind the door type thing. And when the human walks past, you fucking, you come in and close them in.
Yeah.
And we practice that religiously, and the trick is, once that happens, you have to down this guy instantly, so, and if that fails and another human behind him, what do you do? And we just run it. We literally drill over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Where we got pretty good without majoring, we could fight off a bunch of humans,
Yeah. Yeah, because you're just pecking them with arrows in the back, and then you block them off, and
and we had the rezzers in the back, and we had a bunch of shit back there. If there'd be naked orcs, just bows and arrows, just shooting arrows, I mean, it was fun, man. It was a good time.
Yeah.
But that was retail. As far as free shards, I actually never played a free shard in my life.
Okay.
So I quit playing, I don't know, 05, 06, somewhere around there when I played WoW, and I never picked up retail after that. Mm-hmm. I did Age of Show. I saw the Paladin and Necromancer introduction. I don't know what year that was. What year did that come in? Age of Shadows, is it?
Yes, yeah, because you would chivalry with the tithing and
all that. Yeah, that was like what, 03 or something like that, 04, 02?
Something like that. Yeah.
I played that for a couple of years and quit.
Yeah.
And then actually I didn't play again until COVID. And I was working from home, and I just Googled Blood Rock Orcs just to reminisce, go down memory lane, because I had never forgotten it, man. I always just think about it all the time, like these orc guys that were just wild, and all the crazy shit we would do back then.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that was fun, and so I was just like, I found it, and then they said, hey, we're now on Outlands, and I had no idea what Outlands was. And I actually didn't even know what Discord was. Again, I'm not a gamer, dude, so like I don't really, I never even had Discord until COVID.
Yeah.
And so like my Discord account began in 2020, and so they were like, join Discord, and I did it. I had found my way, and I ended up going to them, and I I made an account. First character I made was Xu'rek in the account, and I just marched straight to the fort, and that's it. That's the rest is history.
Yeah, and so you've just been playing Xu'rek since then, pretty much.
That's it, man. Not a single human alt.
Really?
Well, I'm lying. I have one Sir alt that's a professor who studies orcs. So I mean, that's
Okay.
yeah.
So
I use them
just
for I use them for events and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I have a human prisoner, but that doesn't really count. He's a prisoner of Blood and Rock. So
yeah. Just
He's my announcer.
RT and through, basically.
Yeah. I have all RP characters. I don't have any alts and anything else. It's all orcs.
And the Outlands like RP community is very strong, dude. I mean,
it's crazy, man. It's crazy. And that's the first thing I realized is that we had like everyone at Sir is just wonderful, man. Like everyone at the Sir Knights Guild is just we always see them as like kind of our closest counterpart, if you will. And yeah, we've done awesome stuff with them. Yeah. We have new ones like Bear Guild they have some RPers there. Yeah. You have some RPers. I mean, just left and right.
Yeah. So I can remember I always bring this up, but it was so cool, man. The siege in Winter Harbor and walking up and like, the orcs were yelling and just saying nonsense, right? And Sir's just like, look at these funny guys,
Right.
Just being all holier than thou. And then all of a sudden, Vargtok comes up on the boat and just blast cannons, and everybody else, is he high? And then orcs populate everywhere, and just, oh my god, dude! It was by far like the most fun I've had in a PvP event ever. Like it was just so cool because it had story that led up to it. We went out to what's the tree in front of the Earth Fort?
The bone tree, man.
The bone tree, yeah. We all went out there, and one of what are the mage orcs called?
Well, Jakas.
There it is. Yeah, he summoned the portal, and then we're in this cave, and the cool thing is it's like it's not like we went through the portal and we all just rushed in there, started talking shit, and then attacked. Like we built up like an encampment in the cave, and so it added more flavor to the actual like encounter, right? So here I am,
it's a little eager because you're just like, oh, it's coming, but these guys it's gonna happen soon,
Yeah, and I'm a snotling, right? So this is all kind of new to me. This was how I got my second or third scar. I don't remember. And this is all still very new to me. And so I'm watching all this happen, and I'm just like, just watching just in amazement of what's happening right now, because it really was a completely different part of the game versus just the whole like, all right, we're going to go down to Aegis 4 and farm for 2 hours. Which is nothing wrong with that, but it's just
no. And some people find, again, it's how you approach the game. But I do wish more people sort of open their minds to it, because that event was like an hour tops. I mean, some of these guys farm for 4 hours straight. It is like you could. We're not asking, you can choose to interact with the game however you wish, but if you choose to go the RP route, it's not like a full devotion to it. You can attend these events, and and that's what makes Outlands a little different than from back in the day, because now, like that event, for example, was probably planned for weeks, whereas back then we had some kind of like story based events, but we had so much activity where you just had to log on, and when you were in retail had no real end game, right? So there was once you GM'd everything, like
what do you do?
You go find orcs or whatever, right? So it's like so like there was no real end game. But now that there's end game, it's created a bit of we're fighting for the attention, the time on server, right? We're fighting for folks' attention to the game. we're saying, hey, yeah, I know you need links. I know you need boating upgrades. I know you need to upgrade your aspect. I know your pets need whatever.
Yeah.
I know you need to build prestige. I know you got to, farm to push bars. I know you got to then drain the bars with boss night.
Yeah.
I know you got to do all these things, right? Then you got to decorate your house or whatever the fuck people do, right?
Yeah.
It's like, and out of all of that, you also should RP, which gives you none of the benefits, the in-game benefits. Mm-hmm. That's kind of one of the hardest things we have to do now is like we have to organize these events where they're intriguing enough where we can sort of circumvent that issue where, yeah, you attended that fight at Winter Harbor, which you said is memorable, but you didn't get a single EXP point from it.
Right.
You didn't get a single gold coin from it. You didn't level your aspect. You didn't get nothing from it, right? Other than fun. Yeah. Which is the reason why you should play this game, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I can completely share that sentiment without a doubt. I mean, that's why I play a thief. I mean, yeah, I get it. People make a lot of money as a thief. I give it all away on the stream. You know what I mean? But I do it because it's about
you're like stealing like arcane scrolls and stuff. Just to fuck with somebody, you know?
Get them to chase me, and then
it's like your 200 gold item, and they're just like chasing you or whatever.
Yep, and then they lose everything because they chase me. But
I always laugh because it's like they're fighting a mob and like level 3 new Sarah or whatever. It's like just kill the mob and you'll get the money back. Like if you just kill the mob you're fighting instead of chase this guy, you'll literally make more money doing that, you know. But it's But it's fun, man.
The pride. It's the pride. They're like, oh, this motherfucker stole from me. I can't let him get away.
Yeah, that's it, man.
What so does Xu'rek have a backstory at all? Do Orcs have backstories? Are they just kind of born out of an egg, or what happens? You know,
that's actually funny. We debated like how the origin of them and what they are. You know, like. But there's orcs that have like families, so we call it a bloodline. So if Pooh, right, if Pooh were to become a big orc and you make, let's say, an all orc, a mage, let's say you're high enough to make a mage, or you make a tinker, whatever other orc you want to make, we would call all of your orcs that are your orcs as like a bloodline. And so folks RP that however they wish. Like for example, the guy I use at the Tamer, Grudas, he's the son of Xu'rek, for example. So we do have like some lineage there, if you will. But Xu'rek's backstory, I do have actually a write-up, but the short end is that he's from some unknown middle of nowhere tribe, like a forest tribe that's like more native and savage-like. They're not structured or they don't live in a fort. And he was basically, he has a twin, which is my permanent red, named Yakmog. And so Yakmog and Xu'rek are twin brothers. But Yakmog is like disfigured and fucked up. So when he was born, like they saw it as the evil omen. So they were cast away to the Bloodrock clan, who accepts any and all. So that's kind of like that was my main thing is like, hey, we'll take anybody who wants to come. Doesn't matter the kind of work you want to be. Like this is a home for all. So I just kind of like tied it into that. So basically, he was abandoned at birth. Him and his twin brother. Twin brother's evil. Wants to kill Umi. Xu'rek's more like kind of a regular orc, if you will.
Yeah, I like it. So you get to pick what you want your bloodline to be and everything, which is
We restrict armor and no matrix, but we don't restrict the RP element. You can RP whatever you want. You know, we encourage you to be whatever you want. Actually, there's certain things that are already kind of canon, if you will, about the guild. So you can't worship a new god, for example, probably because we already know there's only 3 true gods, right? So like that's been proven, you know. So there's certain things that are canon, but you know, the 95% of it, you can RP as you wish, man.
So
or don't RP at all, just be an orc that just is there. You know what I mean? We don't even know where you came from. You just showed up, you know, like Utsar, he just showed up one day.
It's just there, yeah. And then the language, right? So the language is something really cool. You know, I know in the Discord there's an actual like, you know, word and it means this and whatnot, and that's helpful. But what tell me a little bit about the language.
Yeah, actually that's the first thing that intrigued me because when I ran across these orcs back, you know, in 02 or 01 or 2000, whenever I first did, they weren't speaking English, right? And I was like, what are these motherfuckers saying? I didn't even know what they were saying. And I just remember them saying shiny, shinies, and then they killed me or whatever, or something, that I thought, okay, shinies is a word, but it's not, it's not Spanish. And I speak Spanish, so I was like, it's not like a romantic language based word. I mean, these guys are just making this stuff up, right? That's when I Googled them and I realized they were RPing as orcs. And then, I saw the list and I was like, how cool is that? I mean, these guys are just, these guys are speaking another language.
Yeah.
It's hard and it's probably a little intimidating for folks. Because I imagine if you join tomorrow, you're thinking, oh, well, I can't speak this shit. I'm not gonna learn to speak it. The truth is that like as a snotling, you're not expected to know how to really speak at all. Like we see you as we call you like a newborn. So you would be just like you would just emote your way.
Can't talk.
Yeah, you just emote your way like looks confused, right? Looks confused, doesn't understand.
Yeah.
They're drools or whatever, just drools over and over again, and we'll just beat you a little bit, and that's it,
Yeah, they're telling you to go get a club out of the shelf. You don't understand it, and you just start drooling, and they hit you until you get up to there.
Yeah, or they'll like shove, right, or just shove you in the right direction. So yeah, the language is cool, but the kind of the secret to it is you can take it as complicated or as kind of low level as you want. So there's some orcs that are really freaking good at speaking in Orcish. There's some people way better than I ever like. Lucy Rambles from Sir. She's an old-time orc from another clan, but her Orcish is on point. And she sometimes blurts it out, and I'm like, man, that's like, it's a different dialect because it's how it's from another clan, but yeah, she's really good. There's some orcs that are really freaking good because they'll memorize all of these words. Most of us just kind of impromptu that stuff, and we've been doing this so long. We just there's a few keywords. We'll throw in a couple, broken English words in between, and it's Orcish.
And make it work. Yeah, I mean, it's all the same thing. So, what does it take to what's the general synopsis to become an orc, and then, I guess they would start out as a snotling, right? I mean, what can they expect from?
Well, the main thing is you got to get your name approved. So we have to approve the name, right? That's a big thing. And then we all are the same skin tone, and we all are bald. So if you show up with like a goatee, like you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna be accepted. But that's all in the Discord. So the first thing is the Discord. We got it laid out. There's 2 or 3 channels in there that just say how to make an orc or whatever, and we show you like the skin tone. Just go bald. And once we approve the name, you make the name, and bam, you're a snotling.
And you wear green thigh boots.
Green thigh boots. Green thigh boots because we RP it as like old moldy leather boots. They're not green. They're not green dyed. They're green because they're disgustingly molded and they've been sitting there for ages.
Yeah.
Orcs are only allowed to wear ringmail armor and below. Like we're not allowed chainmail or plate mail. The only exception is like our war chief who can wear plate arms, but that's it. So most orcs, 95% of orcs will ever not wear will never wear above ringmail armor.
Yeah.
For snotlings in specific, we RP that they wear a bucket as a helmet.
Yeah.
And so I think it's called I forget the name of the helmet. Bassinet. Yeah. So it's a bassinet, and they're allowed to wear that, but we RP it as a bucket. So
yeah.
But yeah, that's the snotling attire. Moldy thigh boots, a bucket for a helmet. We don't allow them to wear arms. So they actually, when they engage in PvP, like RP battles, they can't wear arms. And so they look even weaker, right? Because it's like an oversized, now it's like scrawny arms and like an oversized vest. And last thing they're not allowed is a mount. You're not allowed to use a mount as a snotling, which is perhaps the only guild in the game, I think, in Outlands that will hinder you from using a mount. I don't think, I've never heard of another guild where you're not allowed to use a mount.
No, but it gives you something to work towards. When can you get them out?
Second rank, PL rank. Which you're still dumb. You have grown, right? You're just a big dumb guy now. Before you were scrawny, but now you're just as dumb probably, but you're big enough to where we'll call you a peon, and you're allowed a couple more weapons of choice. So
so go snotling, peon, grunt.
Yeah. And then there's specialized beyond grunt for like RP storylines. So you can be a brute or a scout. But those are like you have to make your own story. It requires some RP work to sort of be those roles.
Yeah.
And then you get to the leadership, which is the captains. The war chief is at the top, and then the orc lord is like the right hand man.
Yeah, and is scout where you would go if you were like an archer and a lursker, maybe?
Yeah, lursker. Yeah, lursker. Yeah. So, but it's more than that. It would be like at that point, it would be, we allow it for like the trusted orcs, and they get certain benefits. So they're the only orcs now that can wear the quiver.
Yeah.
So they get a certain look. They get a scouty look, if you will. But more than that, they get to be the persona. They get to be whatever, in their opinion, would be an orc scout.
Yeah.
So whatever skills that they require, but they have to make a story about it. So it's actually kind of cool because it opens up to the orc to be however they want to be. As long as they can sell it, it's good to go.
So I heard a rumor. Tell me if this is true. But do Orcs also get? I don't know if scars would be it, but I mean, are they rewarded on murder counts at all?
They are, like if they get like 50 murder counts, they're rewarded a scar.
I don't know.
It's happened in the past. I won't say it's like a rule, but yeah. we encourage murder counts, particularly for Slaughter Moon. It's a bragging right. At the end of the Slaughter Moon, you show your kill count. If you have less than 20, don't even show it. If it's so yeah. If you get high, particularly if it's like a snot. It's always fun when like a snotling gets a lot of kills,
because they're not wearing armor, right?
Yeah, they're just they got no aspect, running through a dungeon with no real armor.
Yeah. Shoot, if they make it to level 3, then they should get a scar.
Correct. Yeah, most of them don't. They'll just die on the way. That's another fun part. But
yeah. So definitely, man, it's funny because I think might have been my second or third stream. So this is like 4 years ago, something like that. I was like, let's do a naked PK run. And so like I got like a bunch of people just to get naked and go PK. And man, we didn't make it very far. It was an embarrassing start to a stream because we were all used to having aspect, right? Like if you have like this armor that's super strong, and then all of a sudden you take it off and you have absolutely no abilities. Yeah, and you're not used to it, and so it was just it was really funny. So that's the life of a snotling.
we get a lot of guys who make alts that are orcs, and a lot of them appreciate it. They just log on. It's kind of a simple way to play the game. If you're a snotling, you log on. If there's something going on at the fort, you'll partake in that.
Yeah.
You'll tag along we do patrols on the roads, so you'll tag along on a patrol. And by that I mean you'll run as they take off from their rosters, right? And so you'll show up to the fight when it's RP over, kind of thing,
Yeah.
But it's fun, man. And like we RP with them and make it kind of like they get to be something just totally different. And who cares? They die. Who cares? They'll go gray and just it's a very carefree life for the snotling. So
yeah,
I definitely appreciate it.
Yep. So in terms of events, you talked a little bit about Slaughter Moon. Do you guys do events? I mean, I know you do events, but I mean, do you kill bosses sometimes? Do you tell me, kind of also walk me through the RP setup of events?
Yeah, we do some PVM events, but I'd say they're probably about 10% of our events at best.
Yeah.
We don't really focus on the PVM side that much, although we do it. Well, we have voters. We got some really good DPSers, who do bosses. Our alliance, the Evil Alliance, runs a weekly boss night. But as far as like the Bloodrock Orcs, our events, most of our events are focused around RP PvP events, where we get to go out and be orcs. You know what I mean? Usually against another RP guild, like Sir or Path or you or whoever else wants to partake. But yeah, that's kind of like my thing. For the past, I don't know, year and a half, 2 years or whatever, I've been heavy into making those events. So our guild leader made I call him a real RPer. I'm like a fake RPer. I'm like, he's like Dungeons and Dragons story campaign. I'm like Pokemon episode. You know what I mean? Like I'm just like they gotta cross this bridge and there's some biker gang in the middle of the bridge and you gotta fight the biker gang to pass the bridge. You know, that's my level of RP. But that's by design because we have the longer storylines and more sort of immersive RP based story that our Guildmaster Bartok does. And so I was like, let me do smaller kind of I don't want to say sillier, but maybe less intense events that are more like, hey, like we had a war over beeswax, right? We just me and Lucy were messaging, thinking of ideas, and she's like, this is before the command aspect nerf, before everyone gave up on taming, right? So this is when everybody and their mama was taming and everybody was command aspect, and it was like 120k a core, whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
And so we just RP'd that, I don't know, pets like beeswax or something, and there was a shortage, and so that we did an event at the black market vendor point of interest north of the fort.
Okay.
And we just fucking were hoarding beeswax and selling it like if it was drugs, you know. So we had brigands like, you know, RP that they were just like standing on a shady corner, just like offering beeswax to people, and like the knights came and tried to stop our operation, and it was like a 3 or 4 series event. But it was simple.
That's great.
We call it the beeswax war. So that's part of the events we do. So that's the RP PvP side. And I'm trying to do other events. I think you attended one. You attended a critter club, right? That I did.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's another type of event that we do that I run. That is just like a pet versus pet fight. And that's again Pokemon. Basically, just a Pokemon fight that you would have.
Yeah.
And we're fixing to do our third one actually. So that's kind of a good one.
I'll be there.
We also do. We do different kinds, man. We do Hunger Games. Another one I made up. It's basically the Hunger Games in our fort.
Okay, what's that?
We had fucking like a dozen humans that we RP'd as tributes, 2 from each guild, from 6 guilds, and we just stuffed them into our cell.
And
then we got evil guild members to come in and sponsor them. So like if you're a certain knight, you got sponsored with like a vampire or somebody, and if they win, you get some gold if your guy wins. So they had them buy their people Band-Aids, and I kind of sold it for like 500 gold per Band-Aid or something crazy, you know. That's like a guild donation. But yeah, basically we just did the Hunger Games. I piled a bunch of weapons in the middle, scattered weapons around the fort. Yeah, scattered weapons around the fort, and then we just did a countdown, and they just went at it, dude. Like it was.
When is the next one of those? When is the next one of those?
Man, I don't know. I gotta finish soon though. Soon. But that one was an absolute blast because
I would love to see that. Yeah.
Because what happened is like, you know, the 2 members from each guild stuck together, but then you know, like the Sir guys kind of know the Path guys, or it was the 2 Sir ladies actually, and then you 2 Path guys. So they kind of grouped up, and they know the other guys. So like cliques formed very quickly.
But that's what happened in Hunger Games too. You know what I mean? Like they kind of allied together, and then of course ultimately they have to kill each other. But
and so we did it where it's like we just scattered regs around, scattered weapons around. Pots and Band-Aids had to be bought by your sponsor, so you had to convince them to invest in you because I'm overcharging like crazy, right? So like, I mean, we had orcs and vampires that were dropping like 50, 100K on like Band-Aids and whatever, just to get their guys to win. You know, it was amazing.
That is so cool, dude. That is an awesome event. I would love it. If you end up doing another one, please let me know. I want to be there for it because that is so cool.
You make it, the trick is to run away as soon as possible. I'll just give you that hint now because if you go for the shit in the middle, like immediately, good luck, dude. Because one guy's gonna get a spear and just nick you, you know. But it's just how it goes. But it was really fun. I mean, I was trying to think of events that, because RP PvP stuff is fun, but just having a variety, you know, different types of events. So we kind of do it all, man. We do those types, do the Hunger Games. I mean, we do RP based events too, where we don't even fight or anything like that. So we do those. Critter Club is good. I mean, it's all fun, man. We do all kinds of different stuff.
We've got the Orctober showing up here in 9 days.
Yeah, October's coming up.
Yeah.
I think this one will be I'm not just saying that, just, whatever. I think this one will be the best one by a long. It's already in the works. And yeah, I encourage everyone to do it. Last year we had, I don't know, probably 30 or probably close to 40 evil side log on and pretend to be zombies.
Yeah.
And we just trickle in.
So this for anybody out there, basically, people go into the cage. Correct me where I'm wrong if I am, but they go into the cage up at the top right of the fort, and they slowly come out and they attack this, which is being defended by the Umis, kind of an Alamo area, and then the respawn just keeps coming harder and harder, right?
Harder and harder with increased difficulty. So like at first we just walk. And so we're Urg zombies, so we'll just you'll hear everyone just spams brains, right? Brains. We just say brains over and over again. But basically we trickle in, and the humans get to we die left and right because we go naked. And so like we just die left and right. So the humans get to just lay waste. It's an absolute sea of dead bodies. But the trick is once we kill a human, that human's infected and becomes one of us. And so it's a zombie game for sure.
Yeah.
And it is an absolute blast, dude.
And then I remember last time when I was there, it was probably a trope of somebody. They spawned a whole bunch of zombies at the very end of it, and it just murdered us all or something. It was great.
Yeah, we have a trope has been amazing, and they've helped me out with some stuff before, a lot of stuff. So yeah, shout outs to her for always helping us out.
Yeah. Yeah, what are some of the just different? I mean, because I like to go back to Siege of Winter Harbor just because it's really in my memory because it was such a memorable experience. But I can remember like the explosion and it knocked us all back, and I was just like, whoa!
Apparently that one's hard to get. So Bartog is a VIP, obviously. He's VIP. Yeah. Apparently that one. A GM has to trigger that. So like the GM was there at that event doing that for him. But Trump has helped. I mean, Eric has helped. We've had so many events, but we did in I think it's called Sanctuary Haven. It has like 3 or 4 names. The town just outside of you leave Sanctuary underground and you go through that skinny tunnel. You come out.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I think it's called Sanctuary Haven. Or I don't know what it's called, but. Yeah, Eric, we RP'd that evil guilds took that over.
Okay.
So he went in and trashed it. I mean, just put trash everywhere and like just, like beer bottles left and right, so he did that for us.
Yeah.
Atropa's, I have a series of RP PvP events where I RP that different legendary beasts are scattered around Abaddon.
Uh-huh.
And so the concept is I needed an excuse for an archery only fight. So that it started. I was like, what kind of fight can I do that doesn't exist in the game already? Like what that people weren't doing. And I said, well, imagine just no damage except arrows, just a shootout, And so then I was like, well, how can I justify RP wise people having nothing but arrows, right? Bows and arrows and bolts. Well, a hunting party or something like that, right? So then now the idea is I just make up mythical and legendary beasts that are around the world. In different areas. Like we had a diseased bear that was like a threat to the bear population. So the bear guild defended it with arrow, as a hunting party. This last one we did, I created a snake in the wildlands called Cora, and Atropa actually made Cora for me.
Oh, cool.
And so and they gave it what's that monster, the Autoyug with it shoots.
The Autoyug or whatever.
Whatever. Give it that ability. So like when it spawned, all the orcs were like, "Oh, fuck it up," and we just like went around it, and they just nuked everybody, dude. It was amazing,
A bunch of dead orc bodies.
Yeah, so Tropa helped me. We actually spawned it in. So like the winner of the archery shootout got to hunt the beast, and so it's all RP though, but we do archery on it. So she's helped with that. We had a fort fight with Sir where she did an explosion for us, like a crazy big explosion.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been all kinds of awesome stuff that they help us out with. Just something that makes the game, the event, a little more distinguished, like something memorable.
Yeah.
Things like that. And I'm forgetting other things that they've done for us.
Yeah. I get it. Okay. So Slaughter Moon.
Yeah.
Everybody sees on Saturdays the wave of reds run through,
Sure.
right? It's mayhem. It's just pure mayhem. Tell us a little bit about it. And
Well, I'll say this
you know.
first before I talk about Slaughter Moon. Is
Yeah.
the general rule for the Bloodrock Orcs, and is we never kill on sight.
Okay.
Well, that's the general rule, except for Slaughter Moons.
Mhm.
But the general rule is we always demand tribute first. Okay, as orcs, and that's done on purpose, and we very much keep our own guys in line with it if they don't follow that, because we want to establish a kind of a reputation where we're not. Yeah, we might PK you, right, if it's not enough, or you call us idiots or whatever.
Yeah.
But we don't want to just attack on sight and just be PKs. That's never been our goal. We don't want to be that at all. In fact, we love it when they do give tribute and we don't have to kill. We don't kill them. That's more fun because we get the interaction out of them. You know.
Yeah. The interactions are always fun.
The interactions is the goal, man. Actually, killing them is kind of like because it's never worth it. The penalty we get for killing them is more than what they have on them. It's a bad ROI. We get nothing out of it. You know what I mean? It's almost like, but yeah. So I say that, generally speaking, in the wild, if we run into a human that's mining or something, we'll always ask for tribute first. It gets hard because they'll do like recall scripts if they see a red, and so sometimes we can shoot one arrow in them and then we'll stop. But the general rules will never kill on sight.
Yeah.
Slaughter Moons, though, as you mentioned, is different, and we'll always post in the Roleplay channel. We'll post the red moons, and I don't know if you ever seen it. We'll spam them on there just to give a heads up that it's happening on Saturdays. And that's basically just a rampage through the dungeon, just screaming or just screaming. We don't go in there to actually try to make loot. We don't go to try to keep any of the shit we're gonna get. We're just there to be like a red wave of orcs that are just gonna kill anything they see.
Just yelling Nugra.
Just yelling Nugra, and sometimes it's funny because we'll kill a guy and they'll be like, "Oh shit, this guy has a vanquishing fucking, or like an accurate vanquishing weapon. This is actually gonna, this is probably worth some money, or they'll be like, we'll kill a guy and he has like a command core, when it was like 100K or whatever, or we'll kill a guy who's running to the gate and he's got 30K gold on him. And it's like, well, we'll take it, but someone's gonna just get it off of us in 5 minutes when we die, So
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, that's Slaughter Moon in a nutshell. We just try to kind of just be a red scare for a moment.
Yeah, it's always fun because people be like, Urks and ossuary, and it's just like, oh, I know what's happening. And if it's Saturday, it's like, there's at least 10, 15, 20, 30 of them just swarming in. And, one time, I saw them, I saw you guys, and, I was like, tribute, and they stopped and surrounded me. And then Nurul, he put a rope around me and he drug me back, and then they, all the way back to the fort, and and then they beat me up and then sent me away.
Yeah, he's one of our greatest elders, man. He's really kept it going. He's actually our founder. The guild was founded in 1998.
Okay.
So by an orc named Truga. So like our guild statue has 1998 on because that's when Bloodrock was originally created.
That's awesome.
Nerul is an orc under that war chief. So Nerul's been around since the beginning.
Uh-huh.
I'm saying he's like a 24. I mean, we just celebrated our 6th birthday or whatever. Like our clan would be 26 years old if it was born the day it was created.
That's wild. Yeah.
Yeah. So like some of our elders have been there since 98.
Yeah.
Actually, most of our elders have been there since 98, 99, which is kind of crazy because they've known the history. They have all the history, and so yeah, these guys have been orcs for a long time.
That's really cool, man. Like the stories that they probably have of like, back in 99, we had the great battle of whatever.
Yeah. We actually, Grislock, I don't know if you ever met it. Grislock is our orc historian, actually. Okay. He has a sub-channel in our Discord that's called Grislock's Library. And he has screenshots from the 90s, like 99, just stuff that he's found and discovered from our history from way back then. And some of those same restrictions that we've had then, we keep now. And Outlands has done a lot of wonderful things, but it's truly the best UO experience you're ever gonna find. I think, in my opinion, it's the best. Because, and I think Nero actually said it best. He said if we got everything we wanted, the server wouldn't be fun because there wouldn't be a lot of humans playing it, and the interaction with them is what makes it fun, and like the different experiences people have. So like you almost have to adapt to a new world. But yeah, it's a little challenging as orcs, because we're telling people we can't use recall scrolls in a book. As orcs. So like we're like, and so it's and then people are like, well, how do you get around? It's like, well, we fucking walk. We either run there.
There's moon gates.
Or we hike there. We are allowed to hike with camping, so we kind of get around with camping. So a lot of us have camping to just move around.
Yeah. No, that's really cool though. I mean, it adds the whole realism, if there is such a thing, to it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and it also makes sense. Like, I mean, from an art standpoint,
you're an orc. You're not going to Calor for it.
But even like if you flipped it and we were like a good guild, for example, and we RP'd in the same vein, like we wouldn't allow like a fresh 14-year-old squire to be a knight or wear night shit. Like, motherfucker, you're gonna get the shitty scimitar sword or whatever little dagger and leather armor and a leather cap. So that's just how we would do it, because so we believe in the restrictions, but eventually, it's fun because you have a goal to work towards. That's always been our philosophy. Something to work towards and grow and level up.
Yeah, I mean, you really could almost copy the URK guild into which, I mean, I guess Sir kind of does the similar thing. But I mean, you know what I mean? Like you could do that. Like you said, a squire moves on into a knight, and then similar to what you call him, a weakling is the very first mage.
A weirdling.
Yeah.
And we have a scar system for it, so that you level up. Like, it's not just arbitrary. Like it isn't just when Nero or when an elder feels like you deserve it. You earn it like through tasks and completion, and that can vary. So
okay, so here's a question. I'm sure you have, but have you faced many challenges like trying to put together an event and then random people showing up and just like, oh, let's fuck with these role players?
We've had actually not as many as you'd think. We kind of stopped posting some of the details, and before, when I would make events, I would post some of the details in the roleplay channel and stuff. It was probably like 2 people that probably ruined that, but we've had a couple instances where like folks would show up to an RP PvP event that we had, and let's say it was 15 on 15. Well, most of the 15 evil guys are going to be like red or go gray when they attack a non-ward opponent or something like that. Even the good guys, if an evil guy's blue and they're blue, and someone didn't flag war, they're going to attack them and go gray, right? So they might go gray. And so what they would do is they'd be hiding nearby, and when the fight was ending and we were rezzing, they'd run in and loot the bodies, kind of thing, So we had that a couple of times, but not too much. The biggest
looting all that ring mail, man. Getting all that ring mail.
We're just kind of laughing. It's like, dude, you're getting a GM fucking bow and leather boots and
moldy boots that have been sitting there.
You're getting moldy snot boots, but that's the one thing humans love to steal from us, from our corpses, dude. They take our boots all the time. I don't know why, but they just love taking them. But no, not too much from that kind of stuff. We've had that a couple of times. The biggest occurrence of that happening was GG. And I really don't blame them, because I spoke to Leo from GG after this thing. We had an event at the Ship and Bay POI. I don't know if you've been there. It's literally like it's a ship in the ocean that you can walk on. It's not actually a ship. It just looks like a ship. Like it's really cool, actually, because it's a 2-story big ass ship that we were RPing as a vessel, and we were intercepting it in the ocean. That was our story.
That's cool.
So we rolled up in the Orc ships and boarded them and jumped on board this POI that's in the middle in the bay. And so we had our ships next to the, and we talked our crap, we RP'd a bit, and we had a fight on board this vessel, and the winner got the resources, which, it was like a storyline we had. But, I didn't really think about it, but, obviously we had 4 ships parked there.
Yeah.
And so someone's going to pick that shit up, right? All the boaters that are, so GG picked it up and just rolled up and just nuked us, man. It was like, it was bad. But no, overall, the interference isn't too bad. I don't really blame them because, it was kind of more, we didn't really think about it too much. But overall, people generally kind of respect the events. If a person comes across it, they'll realize what's going on and they kind of generally leave, or they'll just watch from a distance and not interfere.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. And I think, it's kind of funny because at the beginning of this, we were talking about, it was fucking with those events, right? And stuff like that. But I again, we were like 13, 14 years old. And then, it was the Wild West of the internet. I think now, 20 something, 30 years later, people have kind of settled down and like realized like, okay, it's the internet. Like we're past the whole like, just.
How old do you think the average Outlands player is? Would you guess? If we polled every single player,
38, 39, 40. Yeah.
Really? The average thing?
Yeah, I would say like 38 to 40. What do you think?
I'd probably say probably 30. Probably 30. Yeah, probably 35 or something like that. I mean, I don't think any 18-year-olds are playing this game, right? That's fair to say?
No, it's not. There's, there is, so I think it was like episode 6, 7, 8, 9, I don't know, somewhere around there, is Mini Thief, right? He's 8 years old. He had his 8th birthday party, or birthday. Kid is the best. He makes me look bad. I am not joking. He is a good thief. And then there was this streamer named Bonio, and he would play, like he'd have his camera and then he'd have his son like right next to him. So it's like him and then his son, and they're just running around murdering people in the dungeons together. And this kid's like, I mean, I don't know, 10, 11 or something like that, just murdering. And then there's one other kid, okay, and he won a 1v1 tournament. And his name is Wizzy, if I remember right. Wizzy. He was in Sin for a little bit. And anyway, he ended up, I don't remember exactly what happened, but somehow he screwed us over. He stole something, I think. I don't know. I might be getting that wrong. So if I am saying that wrong, then I apologize. I'm not trying to tarnish his name because he's obviously a badass PvPer. Please don't pwn me. But, maybe it was a misunderstanding. I don't know. Anyways. Yeah. There are some younger kids, but it's obviously like,
most of us are going to be older in our 30s or whatever.
Yeah. Why play this game if you're super young? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, your friends are talking about Fortnite and other things. I mean, it is, you tend to play games that people are playing. Not always, but
But it's funny you say that because when it comes to events, the biggest obstacle we face isn't really people running across it or ruining it. It's just getting people there, man. And I don't mean that in a sense that we have to sell it. It's just availability. Like if I do Hunger Games again and I'm like, hey, you should come or whatever, man, it's a 50-50. You're either going to be working or going to dinner for your someone's birthday or it's always, and so you never catch them all. You can do Saturdays I found are actually really hard for most folks who have families. They've got events, things planned Saturdays.
Yep.
You can do weeknights, and then one guy's going to be like, "Well, I'm a server, so I don't get off till midnight." And and then you get, that's really the biggest problem is that we're all adults, and you're trying to gather 20 evil side and 20 good side, and getting 40 people together, getting 40-year-olds together to do anything is a monumental fucking problem,
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
But, we make it happen and we get some pretty good turnouts. I mean, we've had some 20v20s in the past, and like outside of like server events, that's pretty good, Yeah.
Yeah, no, especially for, I say subculture because that's really what it is. The subculture within an already small game on a private server that, I mean, let's be honest, it's busy, but still, like, yeah, that's pretty impressive. So, what?
Yeah,
Okay, go ahead.
no, last thing on that, the fighting itself is actually pretty fun if you're a PvPer.
Yeah.
Because we fight on foot, we fight with restrictions, we fight in formations, we fight in unique places. Like we'll fight inside of a fucking bank, just a shit,
Yeah.
just a free for all, just absolute nonsensical fight. You'll never see it on the server. But we hate the running for 45 minutes to whack them one time and then chase them for 10 more minutes to, maybe get a hammy off and then your buddy, I hate that so much.
Yeah.
So we do the opposite of that. So you really don't have to be an RPer to partake in that. You just have to kind of, if you want to partake in that, you can come in and fuck some shit up and just follow the guidelines that we follow, and it could be fun for anybody,
Yeah. Yeah. No, totally. Yeah. Like the whole, don't give a count and,
don't give a
don't
count.
loot them and,
Don't loot them, man. Just res them when they're down, so they can get up quickly and get their shit. It's the basic one-on-one kind of civil things that we do.
Yeah.
Because we're in-game enemies for the most part. Well, most of we're in-game enemies only.
Yeah.
On Discord, we're all buddies. Like they'll message me afterwards, like, "Dude, that's awesome." When are we gonna do another one? But in-game, they're like cursing me out. As an orc.
So there's like a huge sense of accomplishment when, on the siege of Winter Harbor, when we made it over there, and if I remember right, we had to kill a certain person, a traitor
orc. Yeah. Umi lover.
Yeah, and it was such like a good sense of accomplishment when we did that. You know what I mean? Like, and I personally wasn't even like super invested into the pre-story and always there day to day with the guild. I can only imagine how everybody else felt. That like this story has built up to this. And I remember even once I'm kind of going off onto another event, but like. We took over Prevelia right in front of the Prev merchant, and like, the GMs were helping us build, not helping us, but I mean, like they were helping us with the graphics, right, and building walls as they came,
like a makeshift fort. Yeah.
Yep, and we had piggies running around and stuff, and it's just like. It's something that can't be found in the original game, and I think that really speaks to it. Without a doubt, and adds another flavor. So super.
Yeah, it does. And honestly, the GMs at Outlands knocked that out of the park, man. In my opinion, they everyone complains, and that's okay. Everyone complains about something. They're gonna always complain about something, but there's so much you can do in this game, And the RP element that we do, and the way that they support us is just another avenue of enjoying the game. We enjoy it more than all the other avenues, but. Yeah, some people can dabble in it as much as they want,
What about the other orc guilds? Like there is ORK, Warg. I mean, is there any relation there? What's kind of the? Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little bit. I mean, some of them, some of this stuff goes back like before I was, in any sort of leadership position. But those guys. Are awesome. By the way, there's the Black Forge Wargs, the Boulderfist Orcs or ORK. They're just different clans on the server. They go by different. They have their own kind of history. Yeah. They have their own way of approaching the game, but all three are role playing as orcs. And so we have a kind of a civil. There's a us versus them mentality, of course, that anybody would have. But at the end of the day, they're orcs, and we all have a orc. We'll never like see each other, and we'll give them a pass all the time. We'll always say hi and stuff like that. So
yeah, that makes sense.
They're awesome, man. Some of those guys are. I know the war guys do their own Slaughter Moon style events, and I've seen them out there in Force too. So and they dress in all black. So if you see a bunch of orcs in all black with black helmets, then that's them. You see some shitty snotlings running around, that's going to be us.
Yeah. What about, so I mean, upcoming events happening? I mean, I know we talked a little bit about October but.
Yeah, we got our Orctober coming. That's going to be the kind of the big one coming up for early October. We're finalizing a date on that. I have a couple of PvP, RP PvP events coming up. And I'm going to do another round of Critter Clump where we fight our pets. I got a big kind of prize for that for first place.
Are they going to be dragons again, or are you going to pick?
No, we're doing.
Okay.
I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna do teams of 3.
Okay.
That are gonna fight simultaneously. So you have to kind of pick which pet you're gonna kill first, and they're gonna do the same thing. So it's gonna be 3v3 pets basically.
That's cool.
In our pit in the fort. Yeah. So a little bit of strategy. Do you kill the one slot first? Do you poison?
Amish, if you're out there, you're on my team, buddy. You and we'll find a third.
We got that, and I want to do another rendition of the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Hungry Games, not the Hunger Games. Hungry Games. And we really did a good. I mean, and I say we because it was like a team effort. It was because we need those evil sponsors. So, we did a great job. On the first one, we did a better job on the second one, and the third one will be even better. So, it's those are absolutely fun because you get to RP why you got in prison in the first place. So some guys were in debt. We actually grabbed 2 brigands on accident. We thought they were Umi, just tin cans, and we threw them in there. So 2 brigands participated as tributes. They were just drunk and woke up in the cell. No idea what's going on. And there's you can kind of RP it as you wish. So we got that coming up. We got those 2 events coming up, and we got their Archery event.
I like it. So if somebody's listening, they want to join, how do they do it?
Man, they just come to the Discord, or find anyone in the Roleplay channel. Just go to the Roleplay channel, scroll up. You'll scroll up 3 or 4 times. You'll run into one of us that's there.
Yeah.
Anybody in the RP community will direct you our way anyway. But even if you don't want to be an orc, but let's say you got a guild of 5 or 6 guys that may be interested in like an archery only fight or like a stage fight somewhere. Man, let us know. We'll come raid your tower, or we'll come fucking, we'll do whatever. And we can set it up even if you're on the lighter side of the RP space. We just like getting Umis in front of us that we can fight.
I'll say that, man. Like, the whole RP community is every event that I've been to. I mean, I'm not like a great enunciator of RP. See, that word, I didn't even use it right. I mean, like, I don't always say the right things. And I never once felt like, shit, I said the wrong thing there. They're going to think I'm stupid or anything like, like even no matter how heavy I tried to role play or how light I role played, it was always just very welcoming and just, I guess, happy that I was there. And it's not just me. I mean, it was anybody that I've seen there for a first time. It was very welcomed. And so I think that's a really big takeaway and positive thing that the RP community all shares, of just that welcome mentality, right?
Yeah, definitely welcoming, man. And if our events are usually sub an hour. So I mean the last Critical Op was like 40 minutes. So like, if you're on and you got nothing to do and you see the flag, just come on through. You'll interact with some people, you'll have some fun, and then you'll be about your way. We like to just be another avenue for people to enjoy the game. Just come in. You don't have to be you don't have to have a crazy backstory. Just come in and hang out, and you realize it's actually it can be fun.
Yeah. I think if people can go spend 20, 30, 40 minutes in front of the Prev Lotto and gain absolutely nothing, then they can go.
Or they can sit in a dungeon and fucking wait for moms to just spawn, for hours on end because everyone's farming it. It's like, you can, because at the end of the day, like we always, our favorite scene in the guild, our favorite movie scene in the guild that we always kind of talk about is the Lord of the Rings orc scene when they assault fucking, what's it called? The castle in the mountain. What do you call it? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know. Gondor? Is it Gondor? No. Maybe. I know what you're talking about, because at the end, Gandalf comes through and he pulls up his sticks.
And the guy has the bomb, the orc has the bomb, and he throws himself in the gutter and they blow it up or whatever.
Yeah.
That sort of scene to us is like kind of embodies what we try to do. We try to be kind of a horde like that.
Yeah.
Where if you want to be the humans defending your castle, if you want to be whatever, slaying the orcs or whatever, we would love nothing more than to be the people you slay. You know what I mean? And we might win every now and again. We're actually, some of our guys are really fucking good at their Dexter PvP.
Yeah.
Some of our orcs are actually exceptional. So yeah, that's kind of like the logic behind it. But it has to be some sort of, ideally some story. Yeah. But even on the lighter side, it you know, whatever you want, man, we accommodate it. We're always welcoming any single person that wants to either be an orc or come RP with us. We always welcome it.
That's cool. So
but bring the shinies though. You gotta bring the shiny, man. If you roll up with nothing, you're dead, dude, for sure.
Yep.
Or at least we're gonna try to cure you. You know.
So there was. I'll move on to the next thing, but I want to say there was this really good story that it was so good. So I had a team app, and I always do just my societies for team apps, okay? And one was right there in the Orc Fort. And I showed up and I saw you guys sitting in the you know your cabin there, and I was like, well, I'm not about to walk past them and not get, you know. So I went through and I dropped some shinies and came out and said Dabu, and I said, hey, I've got this map, and I showed it to them, and they said, go ahead, you can do it, right? And so I went and I did it. Okay, well then all of a sudden, like 4 or 5 random reds come through. And they attack me, and they kill me. But here's the thing: the orcs that I just gave tribute to saw this happen, and they all come running out, and they murdered these reds that killed me. And they rest me, and they said, "Yep, your stuff's there. Finish your map. Go ahead," you know. And of course, and I run over there, and there's all the dead bodies of the people who just killed me. And I was like, "Yes!" And so of course. I took half of the loot from the treasure chest and I put it down in front of the thing, and you know, and walked away about my day. And it was really cool because I went and gave you guys tribute, and I was like, yes.
and it's, we live for that shit, man. You know, like it's part of it. Like again, you know, we just don't want to be PKs. Like again, and I'm not knocking people. Because it's part of the game too, but that's just not our goal. You know, our goal is to be able to PK and to do it on occasion, but you know, we would much rather have that, you know, that sort of situation. Yeah, we have plenty. There's so many maps that people have to do on our fort, but you can tell because they always do they do the stutter step in, and then they realize it's flawless, and they're like, oh shit, you know, fuck, and then they kind of go in and out, and then sometimes they'll just gun it.
Yeah.
But once they go past that bridge, you know, that's when we can kind of trap them back there, and there's no way out back there. You can't recall out of it, so you got to run out of it. And so that's where, you know, we might get them. But yeah, no, definitely bring the tribute, man. You got to bring it. We accept all kinds of tribute, but and we do accept shoes. I'll give you that point. So if you have your blessed shoes, just give them up. If you don't want to die, if you don't care to die, then whatever.
If you could make one suggestion to Outlands and they had to do it, what would it be?
Oh man.
I mean, you said delete test center.
Delete test. Okay, so delete test center tomorrow. I've never logged into Test Center in my life, by the way. I played the game for you. I've never logged in ever. I already said delete test. I got a couple, actually. One, bring back bola balls. Give us
only Orcs get bola balls. How about that? Can I put an addendum on that?
We said it. If we got bola balls, we will never ride them out again. Okay. No, none of us will.
Only Orcs, just nobody else.
Yeah, bring us bola balls. Just fucking just get them off that mount.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do that for sure.
It's good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, test center. I already said that. Trying to think what else we can do. Oh, majory. Majory should be schools of majory. Okay. Yeah, that's my suggestion.
Yeah, so like 100 points is conjuration, so that would be like your summoning, and then maybe 100 points is evocation or whatever, right?
Yeah, so I mean, we wouldn't even have to do that for it. Just split it like a healing spell, call it whatever you want, and it gives you the healing spells, and you need 100 points in that. Offensive spells, and then miscellaneous. Three schools.
Yeah,
I would like to see mages be mages. You know, when mages are in fucking hitting me with halberds for like max damage, and then fucking you know, and then hitting me with corpors. It's like Jesus Christ, you know.
So I like your idea.
That's how I would say. Maybe that's a terrible suggestion, but for me,
I like it. But I'm telling you, there's somebody out there right now that their blood is boiling. They are in the comments. Oh, you motherfucker!
No, it's gotta be. You need 300, at least 300 points, or not 360, and then you still need a vow. So that's gonna be, you know, you're gonna be 400 or 500 there, and you get a couple of others. That's it.
Yeah, I'm with it.
Or just don't be a healer, right? Just be an offensive mage, and then you could do that route, you know. Yeah. But yeah, to get pets, the ability to res, a recall and cast gates, to get all that shit for just 100 points.
It's a lot.
So, and it would be a shakeup of the game. And again, it would probably be a bad thing in the end, but that I personally would like to see it.
Yeah, at least try it. Yeah. Okay, so I know you said you aren't a big gamer, but what other games are you excited about? Are there any? I mean, you said you play a little Call of Duty.
Yeah, I mean, I mostly dedicate my time to Outlands. There are some orcs that are interested in what is it, Ashes of Creation.
Yeah, okay.
There's been some talks about that game. You know, I'm a little more pessimistic when it comes to other games. I've played a bunch of other MMORPGs, tried them anyway to an extent. And to me, I'm kind of just satisfied with UO and what it brings for me, especially on Outlands.
Yeah.
But no particular game that I'm super interested in.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in Outlands and seeing where it goes from here. I think it's going to be around for a long time.
I agree. There's nothing that would take Outlands away unless it was something internal, and I don't think there's anything like that. You know what I mean? Like,
and
it's
you
all,
just got
yeah.
Just look at the King's Fair, man. Look how many people were at that event, the fashion show.
Yeah.
I mean, just look how many people were online when they did have thousands of players, man.
There was 50, I think it was like 5,500 people. I don't know. I'd have to look at it again, but 5,500 people that were on like right after Wildlands launch. Like that's pretty wild, right?
That's pretty wild, man. I mean, I think it's here and it's kind of like my main gaming experience that I have anyway.
Me too.
I don't really mess with too much other stuff.
Yeah. So
work life,
I
said work life. UO work life. It's the only gaming I want to do.
I ask this to everybody. Who should be the next guest on the Pwncast?
Oh man, you should do. I don't know if you do it, but you should do one with Nerul and have him talk about the history from back in '98 onwards. That would be amazing. You know, I do more of the recent Outlands stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm more involved in that stuff, but he's been around since from the start. So it would be a good one.
I think that would be really interesting because of what you said, earlier. You're like, he's been around since '98, like since the beginning. He was an orc under the first guy. And like I said, some of those really old stories are they're just pure chaos. You know what I mean? And they always have some weird, not necessarily exploit, but like weird thing that wasn't really supposed to happen. And when you add that in there, it just adds flavor to it. And, some of the old alliances, I'm sure there was some weird, like, drama that happened back in the day that he would probably be able to speak on a little bit. I would love that, honestly.
He'd be a good one if he'd be up for it. I think there's a couple of Sir people out there that are really good too. Again, I'm more of a light RPer. Like I said, I'm more Pokemon episode, point A, point B, and like bad guys in the middle and we fight it out kind of thing. That has its place, but some of the more serious RP, like some of the more serious RP folks over there are just amazing, man. Like Tibble, I don't know if you from the Tibble, Black, those guys, those are all awesome. There's a couple of the Sea Dogs that are. We have a RP boating alliance that I don't know if you know about that. We started our own RP boating alliance.
Okay.
They have a lot of the role players over there are kind of role playing what they call the Sea Dogs a lot. That would be kind of an interesting avenue because there's a lot of them. So
yeah. Well, I said it at the beginning, man. RPers are like, I really enjoy having you guys on the Pwncast because it's a lot more than just the. And there's nothing wrong with it, right? But I mean, it's a lot more than just the aspects and just the like it's so much more deep. And I like it. Now I like the other side too. Don't get me wrong. I hate saying that because I feel like anybody who's not an RPer is like, well, now Pwn only likes RPer. Like no, that's not it. But yeah.
Well, we do. I mean, we do some PV. I mean, we PVM and stuff too. Like we do bosses and stuff. So I mean, I'm not gonna say we don't engage in that at all. We engage in it, quite a bit actually, but our focus is and always has been to just be orcs, and it sounds a little like I'm patting myself on the back, but the ultimate goal is to be like a benefit to everybody on the shard, to everybody on the server. We wanna always have a presence. We call ourselves relics, like we're not really supposed to exist anymore, but yeah, here we are. We're just we still want to give people that experience of coming across an orc. Like, what the fuck's this guy saying? You know, wait a second, this guy is actually pretending to be an orc. You know, and it's kind of a funny moment for new players, and it kind of gets us by, Matt. So that's kind of the goal. But yeah, I agree with you. I mean, we just talked for more than an hour, and I didn't bring up a single mechanic question.
Yeah, no, really, yeah. You didn't. Well, listen, Xu'rek, man, I really appreciate you being here, man. It's been an honor. It's been a lot of fun, and it lived up to what my expectations of this one was going to be. I was excited when we talked about it, and man, we could go a whole other hour.
Yeah, easily, man. But we hit the main things and kind of our goals. And yeah, if anyone's interested in joining, man, just go to the road. We kind of always post stuff in the Roleplay channel. So any events we're gonna have, we always promote them there. It's an open invite to anyone who's willing to follow the basic guidelines. So anybody who's interested in participating, even as we always like to fight Umi. So even if you just stand next to the Sir guys and kind of pretend to be, you'll get by, man. We don't care, you know what I mean? But if you want to be an orc and try it out, make an alt and just see what it's like to play the game that way. It's an open invitation to just go to our Discord. It'll be easy peasy from there. You'll be a snotling in a snot hut in no time.
It was fun. My snotling experience has been a lot of fun. So I would encourage anybody who's even thinking about it, just jump in there for an hour and you'll find out if you want to do it or not. You know what I mean? Like, and you'll have a great time. So.
Yeah, if you got an empty slot character, just make it work and check it out. You know, it's kind of exhilarating when you do slaughter moons and stuff. It's just a different aspect of the game. A lot of people don't feel otherwise. You know, a lot of people hate PKs and stuff, but we do it with our purpose, and it's kind of like a little more fun that way. So yeah, check it out. We'd be more than happy to accommodate anyone.
Awesome. Well, Xu'rek, thank you again, man. Let's yell Nugra on our way out. How about that?
Nugra, let's do it.
All right, 3, 2, 1, Nugra!